Hello, welcome, and GM to everybody tuning in. We are very excited to be live from the Foundry Sessions for about, I think, the eighth day in a row. Today, we're here to wrap up sections 4 and 5, not wrap up, but to wrap them up for the week at least and present the progress that has been made, the amendments that have been incorporated, and chat a little bit about the changes and why they happened and what's new. With me, of course, is the one and only Robert Sasu. Robert, how are you doing?
Thank you, thank you. All good. It's been an awesome week, fueling myself, not with Nutella right now, but with some fruits and a lot of fruits. Don't be worried, Danielle Varrock. I'm not eating so much Nutella. That is like one Nutella for 1 year or something like that. But
Was
sometimes you need that kind of crazy sugar input.
Were there medical concerns raised about your about how you stay fit and healthy?
Yeah. And I know that Daniel is a great in health and pushing the boundaries as well. So it was cool.
Yes, it is. It's been an intense process. So again, yesterday we had the same format, went through sections 1, 2, and 3. Today we're looking at 4 and 5, and maybe even 7 or something. One of the appendixes. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I
Basi-
think that we can go all over the place today, all the things, because 4 and 5 were, let's say, the economics changes, and then for the other sections, right now those were numbers and appendixes and explanations, and then we have added roadmap to close everything, to close a loop. So I think that we could go through 4, 5, and the others, so that in the forum sessions later on, people can ask questions around each of those sections or
You,
the.
you haven't read the schedule. There's there's no public forums today.
Okay.
We're just informing people. Tomorrow there's 2 town halls, but I'll chat about the schedule a little bit later. That sounds good. Okay, so let's jump into it. So again, just quickly setting the context. Last Friday, so 1 week ago, around this time, we did a public walkthrough of the initial draft of the economics model and the paper. Since then, a ton of stuff has changed. A lot of great additions, a lot of great amendments, a lot of clarifications that have been driven by the community and stakeholders that have been with us through this process. Yesterday, we had a forum session that particularly invited feedback and proposals on sections 4 and 5. So this is the um, focus for today, but we'll also maybe do a full walkthrough of the entire um, proposal, as you were saying. So I'm going to share your screen here, and maybe you can start giving us some context, giving us the lowdown of what we're looking at and what has changed
I
in.
thought that you will say about like the time frames for today, what is going to happen.
I can do that too. So if
Let's do that now, and let's do it again at the end, because
okay.
people want to hear that.
After this one at 6 p.m. UTC, we'll gather Benjamin and Lucian to give sort of a broad overview of what has happened after 1 week, where we stand and what's next. And then an hour later at 7 p.m. UTC, Benjamin will appear on a French podcast or stream to talk to the community there. Specifically, there was on, I believe, oh man, days blend into one another, but I think on Monday or Tuesday, there was a discussion in Romanian. Today, we're doing it with the French community. If any other communities have a great podcast or want to host a town hall for one of the team members to attend, the invitations, we're happy to attend those as well. we'll send somebody. Maybe there's even a few Spanish speakers that we can bring onto the stream, or Italian or whatever communities. If there's a need for that, just let us know. Happy to also help the community make this happen. Just reach out to me. Yeah, is that enough scheduling?
For me, yeah.
All right,
Yeah, it's
good.
for me, yeah.
Good.
So it is good.
And also in the chat, by the way, if you have questions about specific sections or anything that Robert says here during the walkthrough, I will keep an eye on it. You can also just say hello, GM, and let us know where you're tuning in from. But this is somewhat interactive. If there's anything, to discuss or clarify that isn't clear from what Robert will explain, do let us know. Cool, Robert. I will shut up and hand the mic to you.
All right. Yesterday we had a lot of discussions around point 4 and 5. We have gathered all the information and then put it in the document in such a way that, let's say, all the concerns to be solved, and then we heard all the questions and we tried to respond to them in a proper way and to accumulate in the document. I think we are at 45 pages or something like that. I thought that we will go to 100 in the end, just to make sure that everything is neat and clear. And so the point 4 was the catalyst for growth, the accelerator, with a great name coming from the community, and then added that the funds go into open source labeled DAO smart contracts, and the funds from there and the tokens are released based on well-defined KPIs. Sometimes we are edit while discussing because I'm rereading and rereading the things, and that's how things are working. And actually, before I had the core team meeting to review everything, but still, it is a great to do. Then we have the ecosystem growth fund for builders, 20% of emissions for that in the first year. And then this DAO is governed by Foundation, 3 seats, X Alliance, 3 seats, and EGLD holders, 4 seats, 40%. These seats and numbers are suggestions and subject to refinement. That was in the document from Andu, and it is still the note here because this is a DAO governance which can change as the things are going through. So the underlying goal of this fund is to fund applications that create sustained demand for EGLD and the whole ecosystem. Create sustained demand means sustained activities, user adoption, on-chain activity, economic impact, community growth. There are different KPIs, and then these can be evaluated by the DAO members, and then the projects put their presentations, their proof of concepts, their roadmap, and then those are evaluated. And these work as milestone-based grants. What does milestone-based grants means is that the project asks, for example, that in order for him to finish a project, he needs $100,000, for example, and that is separated into 5 or 10 milestones. The project has to do that, and then the release of the tokens are aligned with strict timelines, and each of those milestones are verified, and the grants go out from that. In general,
here, this is also already how the growth games grants work.
yes,
This was also great feedback on the community part. A big issue that a lot of foundations have is they issue, or this used to be kind of the norm, where people get large sums of money, that was dumped on exchanges. Then they may or may not have paid some devs, and often just themselves created something that never attracted any users, and then moved on to find the next ecosystem that would give them a grant. This is not how the foundation here is intending to waste its resources. So very much tied to verifiable KPIs that and the funds are only released if these KPIs are actually met. Just as a little bit of an addendum here.
Yeah, and still, if this fund doesn't perform per quarter, then the whole fund can be locked. So the ecosystem DAO has to find those projects which are really relevant and push them. So the ecosystem fund is not like staying in the sofa and waiting for projects to come. They need to actively seek out projects and to make the projects to go through these milestones, these growth games, or from the community to build more and more applications. So this is about this, and then tokens are released only when builders demonstrate impact. This actually means that first the tokens are locked, so the inflation is not 8.7%, but 4.3, actually 4.4, and then the others get emitted much later. So that's the reality of the code in senses. Then we have the growth dividend fund. I will go over this section and then I will answer some of the questions I see here. Not about the lies, because you can see the GitHub, how we operate and how we code. So please do those before calling. Thank you. Then the other one is the growth dividend fund for users. This is again a DAO governed by the same setup. Most probably here, those 3 X Alliance members have to be DeFi, DGen, really interesting guys who actually know and watch and see what is hot, what brings revenue, what is needed, because DeFi is a really evolving scene. So, and again, from the foundation, the 3 seats has to be seats which are more DeFi oriented, and from the staking holders as well. The underlying goal of this fund is to create like this kind of environment for a sustained demand for EGLD. Again, emissions needs to be utilized productively, and the several guardrails are added. In the end, we want to see one-click permissionless solutions, which drives back direct revenue to EGLD through usage, through buybacks, through liquidity infusions. How do we safeguard these things? Everything, the whitelist, so who can receive which project, or which projects are whitelisted for this. They need to be fully open source, professionally audited, secure upgradability, and clear alignment of economics with the on-chain economics. I have to rephrase it. Clear alignment of economics. And this is enough. So out-of-line wheel mechanism of preserving revenue in decentralized and transparent way. And then if some kind of extractive mechanisms are used, then the distribution can be suspended. The distribution from this growth fund doesn't go to projects, it goes directly to the users who are using that project. So, and that needs to be seen in the whitelist criteria, how they code those functions. But again, for technicalities, this will come much later. And then kids want to enter sometimes, especially when I am in a hard thing. So no problem. So let's back. So these are not going to the builders. These are going directly to the users who use these DeFi strategies. One good analogy is that you stake your EGLD and then you bring external capital. you receive the boosted rewards for the external capital, but only with the calculations of how many staked EGLD you have. Again, we are thinking about here solutions for you to, if you do not want to unstake because you like the passive staking, to work it as in that way as well. So you have passive staking in delegation contracts, and then let's say you bring $1 million in lending through the bridge, and it is seen as a new external capital. You deploy it into a bridge, you deploy it to other strategies, and then you get the boost. So, but again, this the to have staked EGLD is a must. So this is a prerequisite, and you will not, let's say, if you have 1,000 e-gold, there you will not receive boost for more than 1,000 e-gold. If
Let's
you bring more. So here is a an example around this, that boosted rewards is calculated for the amount of e-gold you have, not the amount of the new funds you are bringing in.
let's
So
also, we had this, I asked you to clarify this the other day, but maybe this is also a good option again to do it. Just in terms of the intention of that particular module, right? Like we have, which I think is fairly clear, the builder fund that just funds projects and that want to build on MBX that bring great value to the ecosystem, to the chain, to the network. And then we have this growth dividend that actually goes directly to users that engage in certain types of activities. These activities don't require much from the user. They are basically just opt-in sort of mechanisms where you can choose a strategy that matches your risk profile, and then you just deploy capital and you participate in the on-chain economy and get extra yield. So if your regular staking yield is, I think now almost 10% with the new
it
model,
is less. I
a
think
little bit
it's
less.
9.2. 9.2.
9.2, almost 10% wasn't that far off, but then you get, basically you get an extra boost. So your let's say passive strategy, even though you don't have to do anything else, might yield you up to, you tell me a number.
16%,
Mhm.
16% plus all the revenues you are getting from a DeFi. So if we make a pretty simple calculation, let's say you have in other protocols, you have stable coins that put in lending, and then you have EGLD here staked. All good. You bring those tokens from the other chain as outside liquidity, external liquidity. You deposit it. Let's say the simplest one is to deposit it in lending, and then you receive for that lending. Right now it's around 6 to 8% or even 10%, depending on the day and on the market. You receive on the lending, just for your USDC or whatever, you receive 6 to 8 to 10% or even more. And on top of this, you will receive 7% extra boosted rewards in general for your staked gold in this sense. So the more capital is brought in, the more liquidity is happening, the more activity is happening on chain, the better you get, and then you can get to 60.47% on eGold, and then plus all the benefits you have on the dexes or lending or whatever whatever will be qualified for this whitelist. Again, this is like a super big opportunity for all the builders who don't know what to build. There is the catalog and then they can go there and start searching and then applying that they want to build this, they want to build that, this is how they want it, and they will get also help on this. And we will work together in order to create a DeFi ecosystem on the chain which grows organically and
This
with the good primitives.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to get to, because the distinction, I think, I forget what the three things specifically were that we named them, but there's idle EGLD, right? This is just on exchanges, not even like brought to the ecosystem in any real way. Then there's staked EGLD, and then there's productive capital, productively deployed EGLD. And maybe one more time, like define that a little bit for us, and then help us understand what the intention is, to like kind of try to get as much of the idle EGLD off the exchanges, onto the chain, and not just onto the chain, but actually producing value, or being productive.
Exactly, that's the reason. So the first step is you bring your EGLD from Chexis or whatever and you stake it. And the second is, okay, you want to start using your staked e-gold and other assets, and you start participating in these low risk DeFi strategies or high risk DeFi strategies. They are crazy strategies out there, low, medium, and high risk, let's say. And then because you participate and the TVL is growing, the volumes are growing, the attractiveness of the ecosystem is growing. Because of this, you will receive more growth. So the whole economics principle is about how do we reward and how do we measure and reward growth.
And again, this speaks back to the name of this particular instrument, the growth dividend. As you hold stocks, right, you will receive quarterly dividends usually, that just let you participate basically in the profit that the company makes. This is very similar. So as the ecosystem grows, you get to participate in this as a dividend because you're participating actively in these protocols, and you get an extra reward.
Yes, and this is also an incentive for DeFi builders in a sense, and we have seen this on other ecosystems where there is a base DeFi, and on top of the base DeFi, other protocols are creating these kind of strategies, and then they are running the strategies, and the users have to the users can like they participate passively, and the project does it actively, and it is a win-win for both of them because the investor gets more, the project running the strategy gets a part of the fees, or a small part in general, really small part, but they are running it and then they know what to do. And also the whole DeFi ecosystem gets a boost because there are strategies which are leveraging and composing the functionalities which is in the DeFi. Technically saying, we have um, two or three big um, projects which actually said that they are interested in these strategies already. So after we launched these strategies as ideas from last week, they are wanting to get more information, and these kind of things will be developed. And again, it will be great for all the ecosystem builders to build DeFi strategies.
Yeah, very cool. And there's also in the Agora post, I believe, linked also, and this will be posted on the Agora after the stream. Keep in mind, there are some examples of how these active yield strategies could work. Again, on the user end, it will be much simpler. It's basically an opt-in. You bring the funds that are required, and then you just press a button. I do think maybe this was a question I saw in the chat. I think it's this one. Will there be a separate front end or within the web wallet, for example, to opt into these strategies?
As it is imagined, it should be available from X portal or web wallet, or like in a super easy way for the user to understand. These are the strategies. These are the risk factors. This is what you need to do. Do you want to put it there? Super easy, and with clear targets for every single user.
Great. Let's wrap up the section C, and then
And again, everything here is locked initially. and then because of everything is locked, then uh, the release of these rewards get into productive economic activities when those productive economic activities exist. So it is like a you have an opportunity to get these rewards, but if you don't build towards that opportunity, those rewards are not released. Thus, the, let's say, practical emission rate at first it will be the half of it.
I have a question on that too, by the way. So let's say these 20% emissions go into this bucket, but nobody develops DeFi strategies for half a
Mhm.
year, for a year. This bucket will continuously grow, meaning that the incentive to build these strategies will grow as well, right? It's not just, or is this at some point?
Yes. So right now it is thought that this kind of bucket is growing, but again, you will not be able to unlock more tokens than the KPIs are saying.
Right.
So from DeFi, it is easy to measure everything, and you are not getting more because more were locked there.
Got it.
So
Okay.
and the locked rewards are locked tokens are locked. They do not get enter into the market. They do not enter into restaking. They do not enter into other possible ways. No, they are on those three labeled DAOs, and they are measured continuously. And probably from the Explorer, you will see like click. Here are the funds growing. These are the projects which are building. This amount will be given out because if they reach these kind of KPIs, it can be a really great dashboard around this. And I think that even PeerMe and the others have a lot of solutions around this to have this kind of super visible dashboards integrated for every user to see it. And in the end, you have the protocol sustainability fund, which is actually even right now goes to a multi-sig smart contract, and it is operated by the core, the foundation, and we want this to continue our operations of development, which I think that we have demonstrated and are continuously demonstrating there as being top of the class. And then after the release of Supernova, we will create new roadmaps which will be reevaluated quarterly, updated quarterly together, and presented for everybody to see that we are on track for development. We have pretty strict KPIs internally for everything related development, branches, reviews, tests, and everything. And then everything is on open source, so it can be measured directly how much releases and code is done there.
Before we move on, I just wanted to address this quick question that we got on the Builder Fund, I believe. The difference between applying for a grant or getting funding through the Builder Fund versus doing an ICO.
The builder grants is let's say it's a start for a builder to build and to start to build their applications, and then to create defined revenue generating applications. After that, if they want to grow even more, they can do an initial coin offering. So we are not, these grants do not go out for others to create tokens. These grants go out to create applications which are revenue generating.
Exactly.
If they want to tokenize that after, that's their own job.
Yeah, this is very much, but it's in this sense a good question, as in the grants that are allocated from this fund are going to projects that either have like an outsized size benefit for the chain, as in it's building something that the core team doesn't have time, capacity, etc. to build. This is very important, right? It funds development that isn't done by the foundation core team itself. Very important for the health
The
of the
core
chain.
team doesn't really want to build applications.
Yeah.
As we have others who can build application, we like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are strict KPIs around those projects needing to bring in new users, on-chain activity, economic impact, and community growth to be, let's say, these kind of four things at least.
Yeah. And then, by the way, I see this too, Tefan. I think we have a tentative timeline that we'll look at in the document.
Exactly,
Yes.
but a little bit later.
Yeah. So let's continue to section 5.
Section 5 was highly debated yesterday. Not debated, but people wanted to understand how the things are happening. So these are reflexive strategic investments, 3-year lock period for the tokens. We don't have admin keys and nobody has admin keys to lock to mint tokens. And here we created an activation framework for these strategic investments. The concept that all relevant information has to be made available to the stakeholders and ecosystems participate to ensure informed decision making. The entire process will be conducted with high degree of transparency, robust measurements implemented for safeguard of the community and the ecosystem, and a great intentionality. So one of the good things about this is whether vote right now to go with this plan on any kind of thing before it is minted, or it is minted and locked in on-chain smart contracts, has to go through a full governance for that for that technically for that raise. So being it the DAT, being it the ETF. And before any final action, full context to provide it to community, detailed governance proposal, educating, sharing objectives, mechanics, outcomes. So it is not like right now we signed it and then the foundation does whatever we want. No, that's it was never the intention. This is like strategic things which we do together, and these things are super highly regulated, and then we can ensure with another layer how to make even more sense for the community.
Yeah, I'll add maybe a couple of things there. One thing is clear, right? This is an extraordinary proposal. This particular part of it, this has never been done. Whether that's a good thing or bad thing is completely different, right? Like it's never been done, and because it's never been done,
I would say that it's been done, but in other ways.
oh yeah, somebody
Why
did.
would I say other ways? Because right now, if you look, other foundations from their treasury have launched or are trying to launch DAT and ETFs from their own treasury. This means backdoor deals from the treasuries, which they signed at Genesis, okay, we are going to launch with 80% of the tokens to us, or they said that they have only X amount of tokens, and after a few months on the Explorer, people figured out that they have 10 times more. I'm not saying out names, just the reality what happens.
We have no idea who you're talking about either.
No, I don't have ideas. And this is not an attack. This is not an attack. I just wanted to just to say that this kind of thing, that this was never done before, it's not true, because foundations are actively my Brave crashed. The foundations are actively looking to do this kind of like, everybody wants to be listed in the New York Stock Exchange. Everybody wants to have a digital asset treasury. Everybody wants to have an ETF, and even private companies who are, let's say, building in US, they at one point they want to become public and to get listed. So those are pretty, let's say, pretty natural things, and that's why I wanted to stop that. This is not unprecedented. What is unprecedented is that we started with the smallest treasury of them all, 5 years ago. And then a lot was released to the community, and this is great, and it is great. I'm not saying that it's not great. I'm just stating out the pure facts.
Right. So again, however unusual or not unusual it is, I think it's important to be clear about why this is now explicitly in the proposal as well, because of course, the last thing that anybody wants is either the impression or worse, the fact that once this governance proposal goes through, it's somehow like a blank check to the team to either put in their own pockets or give to someone that they want. This is specifically, making sure that, look, these are the activation steps for these to even be released. Now, again, it's in here that on each of these three proposed steps, this is a DAT, this is an ETF, and it is the incorporation of the US version of the MultiversX labs. They will have to go through another approval process that involves the community. So
Yes, and all the funds are locked, only usable for the designated purposes. Before any of the funds are seeded, an overview mandate of objectives and tentative timelines will be provided to community. Accordance to trigger one, which is the governance for this, not the governance we are having right now. We are not having yet the governance, not the governance we have it in 1 week, but the special governance for that. And then a security and protection, legal compliance will be held in segregated multi-signature wallets. Any material or policy change has to go through a governance proposal. No way around it. So we just um, we just try to make everything as clear as possible. These are high impact initiatives.
I think you skipped over step 4, just so we have the swiftness and intentionality part as
So
well.
once the deals have been sealed and committed, a public notice will be shared with the community of each track separately, informing about milestones, achievements, schedules, movement of funds, everything, and all the necessary steps will be executed in the background to prepare the necessary 3 tracks and bring the point to where each track is sealed. This means the deals to be made before. So there is a preparatory work for the funding round, especially for the ETF and the DAT. There are processes which take days or months. I think for ETF it's like at least 3 months or 90 days or something like that, and then you have a lot of steps where they announce it publicly, and then you get other, I don't know how many days. I am not the expert on this, but we will try to with the experts to have all information ready for the community before any of those things happen. And again, programmatically, it will be ensured that no such a mint, lock, whatever can happen without governance contract. You can verify it directly on the chain and how we develop the things. So those are the things. The rationale for this, we want measurable buyback flywheels towards the EGLD economics, and this mechanism provides a disciplined instrumental tool targeted for these kind of things. All of the 3 points receive their sole goals. You can look it up as we share this document, which will be shared a few minutes after this call ends.
Don't overpromise there. We might need to get rid of some of the typos that we've seen.
Have you
during
seen
this presentation.
typos? Maybe.
No. I've seen one or two things. But
Okay.
but
But again, in let's say before the next session starts, it will be released.
oh, easy. Yeah. Within the next hour or so of the stream concluding easily.
Yeah, and then logged and entered, and actually it will even lower more the emission rates after they get approved. The emission rate has to come down because for this these assets can receive only staking rewards, and only if that is approved. And those staking rewards will be locked rewards, so no community growth fund distribution for this, no growth dividend, no protocol sustainability. That will drop the emission rate even further. But again, this will depend on whether, let's say, because it happened that for Ethereum, they have the ETF, I think, for 1 year or even more, but the staking the tokens was not allowed. Just like this week or last week, there was some announcement that the Grayscale ETF will enable staking, but until then, the Ethereum stayed in a contract. It didn't enter the staking. So these are regulated things. That's what I wanted to say. And so the emission rate will drop in order to ensure things.
And here there was this question. I'm not quite sure if it was about this part or if it was a different part, but it's a good question to answer here because the token, if there is staking, and again,
Yeah.
this needs to be approved not by
Not by us.
us or Robert in particular, but by the ETF owners or
Or
DAT
the DAT owners or the VCs
or the
around it.
VCs.
And then
Yeah, exactly. Those stakeholders need to approve that this goes into staking, and only then would they receive staking rewards. They're not allowed to participate in the other 50% of the emissions, which is the growth fund and dividend and all of that. And if they do receive staking rewards, then those will also be locked.
locked for the same period their tokens are locked. So let's say if they get approval of staking after 1 year of the DAT is working, then there is a 2-year period for the lock. So they will receive rewards for locked for 2 years. But again, this can be ensured by the multi-sig smart contracts, which have the locking mechanism in. So, and that locking mechanism has an end date. So every kind of EGLD enters there, it's locked for the end date. And then some small explanations here and there in order to exemplify more and more what each of DAT ETF means, and the MVX Labs US LLC remain the same. This will be mostly used for enabling a list of integrations, especially in the US, premier custodians. You need custodians in the US as well, cross-chain bridging, and stablecoin, especially in the US as well. Xmoney is Europe MiCA regulated. You need to have other type of permits when you go to the US. The expected outcomes did not change. It remained rough the same. No changes were added. Then we created the bear, base, and bull case scenarios, and those remained roughly the same. And then this is the last thing which was added. It's an implementation schedule, which is tentative. So, but again, it is good for everybody to have a date on this. So right now we are in phase 1, and out of the phase 1 we are in this part: open forum sessions and debates, live revisions, and integration of community feedback. On Monday we have the grand assembly, everybody together, final presentation, final calls, final discussions. On Tuesday, the final governance proposal is published, and one day after, the governance vote takes place, and it takes 10 days. This is the plan which we are looking forward. And in case the governance vote passes, so if the governance vote passes, we can delete phase 2 and phase 3, supernova remains. So supernova is not affected by this governance. So everybody wants supernova, everybody gets supernova. There is no difference on this. This is, let's say, a parallel track. The phase 2 would be an initial technical development for, and only for, we call it staking phase 4,
Five.
which uh, because we had V4 the last time, a little bit the economics changed. Maybe we can come up with a better name. Supernova. We will come with a star name, definitely.
This
The
is
idea,
for the chat. If you guys have great names for this new phase, this is when the new emission model takes hold. Yes.
yes. So this is, so if the governance vote passes on the 25th, after that, we will start working on the technical paper, publish it, and we will start working on the code. Why do I say that we work on both? Because sometimes you write a technical paper and it doesn't fit the code, and vice versa. So it has to work together. And then this update introduces the new emission model and the updated distribution mechanics. So some of the funds will go towards the 3 multi-signature smart contracts. The practical token distribution rate is at 4.3782%. Why? Because all the funds for the accelerator will be locked, and they can be released only after supernova is activated and the first KPIs are reached. So supernova is a must in order to 50% of the emission rate to start. So this is the number, the actual amount which gets into the emissions, because all other tokens are locked.
Maybe, Robert, something that should be in that timeline. I wonder, we discussed, I think, yesterday or the day before in one of the forums about the DAO, basically the DAO governance, etc., being its own process. I think Andre Marnika had a nice way of putting it. They're plugins into the protocol. Perhaps there is some part where we also need to do a discussion and governance vote on the structure and governance of the DAOs that will then govern these funds.
Yes, I think we can do it until supernova, because
Mhm.
until then the funds are locked, so
Exactly. Yeah.
they are not released. So we have until supernova to, together with the community, to work together with X Alliance, to create those structures. I hope that those discussions will not led by me but some others, and I will participate and come with questions. It will be a fun thing, just to
Exactly.
stand back, sofa like this, and then, what do you wanted to say there? Could you reframe that? Sorry
Exactly.
for the jokes. I am super tired after, I think, 3 weeks. No, I didn't have one day off in the last 3 weeks, so not even the weekend. So, but this kind of fun is a must. So, Andu, I am waiting for all the detailed documents. Just saying out loud.
Exactly. Quick question on this. I think a quick no on this one. Distribution
Okay,
rate.
now it is stated a little bit now that with this number, oh, I have, no, these numbers are good. With the current amount of staking APR, you will receive 9.9% average APR versus the 6.5 Why? Because the current emission rate was calculated on the base supply, and the new emission rate will be calculated on the circulating supply. That's a difference, and actually, that's a difference of how others are doing. We were the only one with this model, and everybody else was doing that model. That's so in the end, okay, for now, staking receives in 1 year 900K EGLD distribution, and that is distributed towards staking. With the new model, staking will receive 1.3 million EGLD, and because of this, if the 50% of the tokens are staked, as they are right now, approximately, then the average APR will grow around 3%, close to 3%.
Number will go up. People like
Number go up.
number goes up. People like
All right. So this is the phase.
rich dev will need to rename to richer dev because number will go up.
Dev see only code. Especially in this timeline, you don't like you see only code. You see what you buy is maybe a new mouse or a new keyboard to write faster code.
Hire a new agent.
Yeah.
Okay, so we
Phase
said maybe,
two.
maybe we'll add something about the DAO part here because
Yeah, you
that
will
has
come up with
to be
something.
integrated. And then November 15th, I think.
Yeah, so mid-November should be the launch of this. And in the meantime, we will launch a technical paper for the phase three, which is going to be implemented because this is much harder to implement right now in the code. And then most probably this technical paper will be changed quite a few times as we go on the code, or not, depends. Then we have the new Genesis, the Supernova, which is tentative for December. And only when Supernova is finished, launched, we might code it in parallel, everything for the new fee model, but between any release, you need at least, let's say, 1 month of crazy testing, or at least 3 weeks of crazy testing. So because of this, it's a tentative January 15th for the new fee model to be coded. Also includes a framework for the reflexive strategic locked tokens. But again, the emission itself will require full separate signing as stated in section 5. I think it is section B. Just to make sure on everything. So we will have a technical paper launched. After that, Supernova, and after that, we go into the new fee model, KPIs, and the reflexive strategic locked tokens. Why was this? Because we wanted to create a momentum building up for Supernova as well. We wanted to start building up a part of the funds, so people will see that, okay, they are the funds, those are accumulating and are locked, and if I develop the great applications, I will be able to get from there and to grow even more. So that's the whole idea. And I don't know, that's it. If there are questions,
If there's questions, put them in the chat. Also, maybe one thing, Robert, to put into this timeline is the Battle of Nodes, huh?
yeah, but this is the
Not
timeline for the economics, not the battle of nodes. I
okay.
think that battle of nodes is a parallel thing before supernova, which should start in November if the protocol team finishes. So I should not ping too many times Adi to review this document.
Yeah. Maybe here a question just to clarify this bit. With phase two, the emission rate will increase, but it will be locked until supernova is out.
Yes.
Exactly. Okay. Looking if there's other questions we missed. Date of the upgrade. I hope this was answered in here now. This is also now going on the Agora after. We'll do a quick grammar check or whatever is needed, and then Robert needs to go through the annoying process of screenshotting half of this document. And then it will be on the Agora. On the Agora itself, I only found this out yesterday when Robert posted the new version. There's actually, you can compare version versus version next to one another, and you can see all of the changes that have been made from one document to the other. So you can be sure that nobody's trying to pull wool over your eyes. Robert is a machine, says Pond. Pond is not wrong. Robert is a machine. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you so much for being here, Robert, Machine Robert. Thank you so much for being here. All the people watching, either live or now, you can also participate in this process in various ways in the Foundry Sessions website, which is multiversx.com/foundry-sessions. You can look at all of the documents provided. There's summaries of all of these sessions that we've done. There's all the videos, of course. This will be one of them shortly. You can also go to the Pulse website, pulse.multiversx.com, and vote in these polls that help the team shape what's next and understand how you're feeling, and add your ideas to the ideas section in that same app. It's all on chain. It's quite a cool tool. I believe soon enough, community members will also start being able to put their own polls there, and that might be fun. It's a cool little thing that was
And I
developed.
think that it will remain open even
Yeah,
after
exactly.
this period, so it will be great to discuss there. So
Exactly. New era. This is fun. This has been a great discussion. Thank you so much, Robert, for being so patient with all the questions and walking us through everything. We will reconvene in this in a similar setting with Lucian and Benjamin at 6 p.m. UTC, and walk through or reminisce about this past week, and also look at all the changes, and yeah, maybe have some more explanations. If there's any questions in the meantime, if there's any amendments, anything that you think sucks about this proposal still, do take the time to make an amendment. Don't keep it to yourself, and let us and the team know how to improve it. Come with numbers, come with evidence. Don't just say, I don't like it, because that isn't extremely productive. Okay, great. Before I turn this into some random rambling speech, I will just cut the stream. Thank you so much, Robert. Thank you for watching. We will see you back in the Foundry very soon. Cheers and peace.
cheers.